Hello, fellow Fremonters. Today we are reading 1 Timothy chapter 3. Timothy is a young and timid man, and Paul has given him a difficult assignment to correct and to clean up the leadership and cultural habits of this church in Ephesus. You know, when we read these letters in the New Testament from the apostles to the first century churches, these church communities, they're not just kind of starting with a blank sheet of paper and writing all their ideas about what it is to be a faithful Christian or church. Instead, we're reading these insightful and pastoral reactions to actual events or questions or patterns in these churches. In other words, we're seeing one side of a conversation. I think we can assume from this letter that Paul is concerned that this particular church has been distracted away from the gospel and elevated leaders who are not an expression of the character of God. And the reason for Paul's concern isn't simply that this could cause embarrassment for the church or that it could lose members. The local church is something new and unique on the earth. As he says at the end of this chapter, it is God's household, the church of the living God, the pillar and foundation of truth. In Paul's view, God is creating in the church a new mode of society where God's character is the centerpiece, expressed in the lives of the people who are being saved from their own evil. It's God's character that is the greatest distinction between the way of Christ and the perpetually tragic way of the world. The criteria for leadership in today's reading does not include being dynamic or charismatic or even able to achieve a lot. To choose leaders who do not reflect God's character is to undermine our mission, the mission that we've been given. Probably 5 or 6 years before this letter was written, Paul had visited these church leaders briefly. He thought it was going to be his last visit with them. In Acts 20, that chapter describes him calling the elders of the Ephesian church to travel to visit him as he's passing through a nearby city. And one of the things he tells the elders in this meeting is that you need to be on guard for yourselves and for all the flock, among which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers to shepherd the church of God, which he purchased with his own blood. Verse 16 in today's reading has the word godliness. And more than half of the New Testament instances of this word are found in this short letter, 1 Timothy. This is not just about being a really nice guy. A godly person is someone whose life, whose character, is a visible expression of the person and priorities and activity and character of the invisible God. This is someone who, in the context of today's reading, is gentle and not a bully. Someone who's self-controlled and not greedy. Someone who is principled and who treats the weak with dignity. This is the attentive and patient work of God to form each of us in this direction, and growth in this direction together is how we show that Christ is King. Thank you.